So our next speaker is, as I said earlier, Dr. Francesco RUFFO DELLA SCALETTA from Italy. He's the most senior racing executive in Italy. Francesco has been appointed by the Italian Ministry for Agriculture as the designated director to manage the current phase of temporary management of the Italian racing industry. For those of you that are not aware, in the last year, the Italian racing authorities have effectively been disbanded and subsumed back into the Ministry for Agriculture in Italy. Prior to this position, Dr. Ruffo held the office of Secretary General of UNIRE, the Italian Racing Authority, and ASI, its successor organisation. Previously, he had occupied senior executive positions in a number of racetracks in Italy, Rome, Pisa and Milan, and has also been employed as Director General of the Trotting and Steeplechasing Authorities in Italy. So Francesco is well qualified to relate the experiences of Italy in recent years. He's going to do it through an interpreter and a number of slides, so if you just bear with us.
Good afternoon. My father used to say that short speeches favor long friendship. And I guess that this especially applies to speeches delivered in languages that, as you can hear, I cannot speak. In addition, my report will not be exactly short because of its technical nature. There wasn't much I could cut out. So I hope you will forgive me if I ask Ms. Ganzin, who is a professional interpreter and will be here to help me if you have any question, to read it for me in English. Thank you for your understanding.
Can you hear me? Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, the Italian horse racing system is embroiled in the country's serious financial crisis. The model must be now innovated, bringing it closer in line with the market. It is a long-standing crisis, and what we see today is the result of not having tackled it in time. To understand the reasons behind the present crisis in the Italian system, we must closely examine the statutory provisions. They implemented the legislation at the end of the 90s, radically overhauling the whole horse racing and wagering management system. They marked the end of an age in which there were sufficient revenues and finances available to support multi-year development programs, even without the necessary alignment of the factors of production. And these factors of production had to be combined for the selection and welfare of the horses and the entertainment offered by horse racing. As we know, Law number 342 of March 24th, 1942, gave UNIRE at the time, which stands for Unione Nazionale Incremento Razze Equine, which was established in 1932 as a non-profit agency within the Ministry of Agriculture. So it gave UNIRE exclusive powers over horse race wagering, allowing to build up a system for funding the horse racing industry. Its income was mainly in the form of withholdings on wages, managed by UNIRE, on horse races, also organized and managed by UNIRE, and was to be used for payouts in the form of prize money, for horse breeding, and financing the race courses. And this created a sort of closed-loop, self-financing system. This statutory situation was radically overhauled, firstly by a presidential decree, number 169, April the 8th, 1998, with the implementing law number 662, 1996, but it stripped UNIRE of all its powers over wagering, and later there was another legislative decree, 29th of October 1999, reorganizing UNIRE and amalgamating the 4 technical bodies that it had previously supervised, i.e. ENCI, Internazionale Cavallo Italiano, Steeplechasers d'Italia, the Agency for Steeplechasing and Gentleman Riders, the Jockey Club Italiano, the Agency for Galloping Races, and the NCAT, the National Agency for Trotting Racing. Now, the amalgamation of these technical bodies on January the 1st, 2000, was the result of a decree, number 449, 1999. Previously, each of these technical bodies had been responsible for a specific sector of horse breeding and horse racing. They constituted a sort of timing belt linking all the operators in the industry. And they were headed by managers, directly elected by the categories they represented, thus decoupling the bureaucratic organizational structure from the technical activities they supervised. With the transfer to the Ministry of the Economy and Finance and the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Forestry Policies of all policy setting and management responsibilities for gambling and horse race wagering, legislated for in 1996, implemented in 1998, UNIRE's horse racing planning functions were completely severed from horse race wagering management. This further decoupled the racing product and its marketing, and therefore the functional combination between race selection was lost. The combination between race selection, race courses, and the entrepreneurial wagering offering. The opening up of the market to sports betting and other kinds of bank gambling, Superenalotto, scratch cards, subsequently also slot machines and video lotteries, caused an unstoppable decline in revenues from horse racing and led to the resultant grave economic and financial crisis in the entire Italian horse racing system due to the progressive reduction in funds for the industry. In 2011, slot machines and video lotteries accounted for more than 56% of the entire market revenue, while horse racing bets were just under 2% of total recorded revenue. With the new institutional structure of gambling, in 2000, an all-out commercial transformation began of both betting and wagering and the main gambling franchisees. For while they had previously been specialized franchisees, basically selling only one type of product, today they have become general-purpose operators, selling all the products permitted under current legislation through every possible sales outlet. An analysis of the balance sheets of the authorized betting and wagering companies clearly shows that the new products purchased over the years are much more substantial than the product which used to be their traditional business. For the horse race betting system has been forced to gradually give over, free of charge, the commercial setting up of horse racing betting shops. This has been given over to gaming machine operators, initially video poker and then slot machines, and today VLT. The second major sacrifice was the coercive disposal of a network of 18,000 betting shops in exchange for a bogus network of corner sales outlets under franchise. This generated income for the treasury from the sale of rights, but leaving horse racing without a sales and protective network. In view of the process of converting betting shops into mini casinos, the figures on new slot and VLT revenues, which have been instituted in the horse racing betting shops and agencies, have taken on a particular significance since 2004. Meanwhile, there has also been a change in the structure of the sales network, and the plethora of franchisees, delegates, families or individuals, have given way to large franchisees. And almost inevitably, the agencies have been left in the hands of the former proprietors, who have since become what we call in Italian preposti, attendants, people in charge. This new organization has not been a success, except for those people in charge, who have cashed in the franchises when they were most valuable. And being remunerated on a commission basis and not facing any competition whatsoever, they have maximized their income by throwing open the gates to new slot, which, above all else, has conditioned the commercial policy of internet gaming. In the betting shops and on the race courses, the enemies of horse racing are the self-service games, new slots and VLT. In the corners, the racehorse enemy is the scratch card, which not only offers an immediate result, but also gives the seller a 12% aggregate commission. Any gaming product depends on striking a balance between customer satisfaction and the economic interest of the seller, a balance which, in Italy, has been completely overturned in the case of horse racing, with the result that the horse race punter base is falling year by year. This is due both to the competition from other products and also to the waning interest in this product on the part of the sellers. For today, the horse race wagering entrepreneur no longer exists. This has been partially aggravated by illegal betting, including via the CTDs, data transmission centers, which are not sufficiently kept under control, partly because of a lack of clarity in the legislation. The gambling and betting market in Italy has therefore undergone nothing short of a revolution in the past 10 years. And horse racing, which has completely lost its monopoly, cannot ignore the market on which it must position itself, according to the rules by which the market operates. In recent years, with the decline in horse race wagering and the resultant smaller income on Unire's balance sheet, it has been possible to implement policies to support racing and horse breeding thanks to extraordinary grants from the government. The gradual cutbacks in the budget for the benefit of horse racing, albeit supplemented by central government transfers in 2008 and 2012, has attained the worrying level of non-sustainability in 2012. The year when revenues have fallen from some 391 million euros to 247 million. Of these figures, as much as 70% is for prize money payouts and the direct financing of race courses. These resources, now and in the future, will achieve their maximum functional effect as a result of their distribution to increasingly match the quality of the role they have been entrusted. To work out new and more effective ways of managing the situation in order to supersede the crisis affecting the horse racing industry, Law number 111, 15th of July 2011, converted Unire, which was a non-profit public agency, into ASI, ASSI, Agency for the Development of the Horse Racing Industry. ASI took over all of Unire's previous legal relations. This decision, institutional, was designed to simplify the structure and make its activity more efficient. And it gave the agency, as a public agency with a more streamlined and flexible structure, a mainly technical public remit, leaving the ministry concerned with purely policy-making and administrative tasks. While waiting for these measures to be implemented, in order to contain public expenditure to the maximum degree and rationalize the organization of government departments and agencies, the government issued yet another decree law, number 87, 27th of June 2012, winding up ASSI and transferring its function and its human and financial resources and capital assets to the Ministry for Agricultural, Food and Forestry Policies, and to the Customs and Monopolies Agency. Lastly, the provisions of the decree law just mentioned were incorporated into law number 135 of 7th of August 2012. In a decree issued on the same month, 17th of August 2012, I was commissioned by the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Forestry Policies to manage the routine affairs that had formerly been performed by the Agency for the Development of Horse Racing, using the agency's present facilities until the issue of the decree distributing the functions, human resources, finances, and capital goods of ASSI. Under these implementing decrees, which will have to be adopted by the end of this year, all the technical and disciplinary powers, and hence all the organization and scheduling of races tasks, will be vested in the future Directorate General at the Ministry of Agricultural, Food and Forestry Policies, guaranteeing the necessary continuity of all the institutional activities that were formerly performed by UNIRE and then ASSI. Under this new system, the commitment will continue to safeguard the great sporting and agricultural heritage of the Italian horse racing industry, whose social and economic importance can be gauged from the estimated 50,000 people it employs in the industry. In addition to this figure, there are also the supply chain activities, ranging from professional to craft activities, feed production, horse transporting facilities, treating horses, manufacturing harnesses, accessories, etc., employing another estimated 20,000 people. The number of horses on the stud books kept by ASSI totaled 227,481, which is 43.6% of Italy's national horse population, which is a total of 521,699. This is in line with the industry survey, which records a job for each horse jockey. The rate is 1.8 jobs for each horse jockey. About 542,000 hectares of land are dedicated to horse breeding and the production of horse feed, of which over 236,000 are used directly for breeding. To appreciate the magnitude of this phenomenon and its importance versus the Italian agriculture, one only has to compare these figures with, for example, the hectares dedicated to olive groves, 1,191 hectares, vineyards, 777,000, orchards, 437,000 hectares, or tomatoes, 113,000 hectares. From the purely sporting point of view, results have also been forthcoming, demonstrating that the overall quality of Italian horse racing remains high. And indeed, despite an unfavorable environment, it is actually improving. The high levels of horse breeding excellence attained in these years has been the result of a widespread commitment, despite the difficult economic situation. A commitment to implement comprehensive multi-year programs to support horse breeding, which, in addition to the investments made by individual operators, have made it possible to enhance the quality and increase the quantity of Italy's horse breeding output. Against this complex background, it is possible to achieve a new economic balance to stabilize the Italian horse racing and breeding system by adjusting and repositioning the industry on the market and repositioning all of its components. But this process must necessarily begin by re-establishing the central position of the prize money payouts as the undisputed final judge, and the central position of the racecourses as places in which the whole horse racing industry is regenerated, and effective technical planning measures are designed to enhance not only the selective value of racing, but also its value as a product for the betting public and as a growth opportunity for those working in the industry. Reproposing a new role for Italian racecourse management companies, for which it must move away from being in receipt of assistance to become entrepreneurs and active stakeholders. This is crucial if the industry is to find the resources it needs. Racing companies can also become entrepreneurial by drawing a clear distinction between their institutional service activities and the other activities relating to the local territory. Those activities to be performed on the basis of results and planned objectives. The racecourse must increasingly strive to enhance the quality of the facilities and infrastructure, the capacity to organize races, and improve the attractiveness of providing a service in a competitive and transparent regime. But it must also focus its efforts on activities which incorporate the institutional role given to it by the central authority, so that it becomes incorporated into the local environment and helps to develop the training of horse racing professionals, craftsmen, stables management, and making and improving offering of races to the betting public. In other words, racecourses must be able to work in a way that will enable them to identify their own level of production and hence racing fixtures, by striking an optimal combination of the production factors and identifying the marginal production unit, quote unquote. This will contribute to indirectly ensuring the sustainability of the racing system. Horse breeding must thereby be able to exploit its output thanks to the market. We must also attack the poor perception the public have of horse racing by staunchly opposing everything that puts people off our industry: doping, excessive whipping, controversial racing results, etc. Horses have always excited people, young and old, even in their possible day-to-day encounters with them. Greater attention must be paid to combating whatever keeps the public away from the racecourses. New resources must be encouraged, attracting and welcoming new people who will be allowed to take part as amateurs or entrepreneurs in an effort expressed in communitarian terms, thus abolishing every stupid border that has hitherto been maintained for short-sighted selfish interests. Another innovative and development instrument is the technical scheduling of races, which must both meet the institutional competitive selection demands and, at the same time, inter alia and more directly, the need to raise betting revenue, consistently with the changed economic framework of reference. For horse racing is not only the most visible, exciting, and spectacular aspect that plays on the emotions of racing enthusiasts, but it is above all a market opportunity and an occasion for selection for that particular sector of the Italian agricultural production, which is still replete with great potential, and a real opportunity for Italy to derive a high level of social returns. National and international institutions like ours must accompany the operators in this sensitive landing phase from being assisted to being in the market, or rather to entrepreneurial and/or amateur protagonism. This is necessary to guarantee resources for and the continuity enhance the development of the racing industry. A landing which must be able to count on European Union cooperation and that of the international racing organizations, in which it is widely accepted that there are no individual models to export and/or impose on others, but in which everyone works for one general development plan. For the models used by each country are their strong points, the resources on which to rely for the continuing regeneration of the racing industry. Let me repeat that again: intending and knowing how to supersede every stupid boundary. Profitability must be rethought, as is being done in other areas of the production of goods and services, by introducing efficiency and cost-effectiveness parameters geared mainly to the market and to the attractiveness of the offering to the general public and also the betting public. Thank you.